Hey, what is going on, Fan Clan? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Danny Phantom. I hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you're having a wonderful week. Happy Wednesday to you all. It's hard to believe that it's already the end of July. Here we are. It is July 28th. Summer is 2/3 of the way over. We are just over a month past the release of Chilling Reign and just under a month away from the Evolving Skies release. It's very, very exciting because we're kind of sandwiched in the middle of 2 months in between set releases, which is crazy. I should have a celebrations video at some point for you this week regarding allocations and numbers and things like that. I've seen a lot of positive things so far talking to other store owners who have gotten their numbers already. It seems like it's going to be a set that is going to be somewhat available as far as pre-order numbers go. Pre-order pricing looks pretty insane from the stores that have already posted pricing, and it looks like it's selling, which is absolutely crazy. But we're going to talk today about Chilling Reign and kind of look over the data and look over the sales and look over where cards are priced now compared to where they were during the pre-order era just over a month ago. So we recorded a video a little bit over a month ago going over Chilling Reign pre-order prices and how insane they were. Unlike several other sets that we've analyzed and we've looked at, Chilling Reign, the single prices, have actually stayed very, very consistent for the most part in a lot of different areas. When we first analyzed the prices of Chilling Reign for pre-order purposes, it was before the set had even come out, which is really when pricing is going to be at its maximum. Once you get through that release weekend and a lot more product starts getting opened up, those prices really start to hit the low. They start to bottom down, and then a few weeks after release you really kind of see the crash in the new set once those cards have been really opened up in the vast public and people start getting rid of their duplicates and triplicates and whatever the case may be. Prices really sink down to where the market expects them to be at. But Chilling Reign has actually stayed fairly strong in a lot of different areas, and there's some cards that have even gone up in price and some cards that have actually stayed relatively close to even. Usually we've seen some really significant dips before. We talked about Shining Fates, for example, where we saw some really, really substantial dips. Battle Styles, not quite as much, but we figured that set probably wasn't as widely opened. Chilling Reign, even though it was probably a fairly widely open set, it seems for the most part like the singles are staying fairly consistent. We'll see if that drops or changes once more product gets open, once we get the second wave of booster boxes kind of out into the field. If prices come down a little bit in sealed product, it might make it more advantageous for people to want to open up some of that sealed product because of some of these higher numbers that they're seeing when they look at some of these alternate arts and some of these secret rares. Granted, the pull rates for this set are very, very normal from what they've been, which unfortunately for modern product isn't that great. You're only looking at one full art or one secret rare maybe per box, so the chances of pulling one of these higher end cards is not great, unfortunately. So a lot of people kind of shy away from opening up mass amounts of these products when it comes to modern, when the prices for a booster box are closer to that 130, 140 range, which seems like that's where Chilling Reign has settled right now. When the set originally released, it was right around 120, 115, 125 in some areas. Now you can find it for about 130. It's gone up a little bit, still a little bit below that MSRP mark, but it's gone up a little bit from where it was when it released. We still don't know exactly when in August the Wave 2 is going to come out, but if you're somebody who's kind of been holding off on ordering Chilling Reign until the prices come down a little bit more, I think you still have some time before that's going to happen, but it should only be a few weeks. We know that Wave 2 is coming out sometime in August. We expect Wave 3 of Battle Styles to come out at some point too, and that should continue to bring prices back down, where you might see booster boxes for Chilling Reign at $100, $105, $110, especially once people's attention is going to be given more to Evolving Skies or given to celebrations or products like that. So I did want to go over, I actually had a couple different bits of data that I had pulled. So here we are, we're a month after release. We did have a video that went out a little over a month ago where we talked over pre-order pricing both on Troll and Toad and pre-order pricing on TCG Player. So I actually pulled the data from both different websites just to kind of show the contrasting value between one of the probably the biggest website when it comes to trading card game in Troll and Toad to what you would see on TCG Player, which is more of a huge outlet for a lot of different storefronts or e-commerce stores or people to sell their cards on, really just a marketplace. So if we start out and look at the Galarian Zapdos alternate art on TCG Player, this was pre-ordering for $148.98. On Troll and Toad, $199.99. So they had a couple cards that were at that $200 price point, which is a lot higher than what you see a lot of times. But these alternate art cards, I mean, they are plentiful when it comes to Chilling Reign, and they are plentiful when it comes to Evolving Skies. And there's a lot of demand behind alternate art cards, and I think that's part of the reason that these prices have stayed so significant. But you're looking at $200 for a Galarian Zapdos V alternate art. Now it has dropped down to $79.97. So this is actually a fairly typical drop. Usually you're going to see anywhere between 50 and 60%. So this is fairly typical when it comes to about a month after the set releases. So it went down to $79.97, which is a difference of about 60%. On TCG Player, it was actually significantly cheaper for pre-order, almost $50 cheaper. $148.98 is what you could have bought it at if you pre-ordered it on TCG Player. Now on TCG Player, it's a little bit cheaper, about $10 less than what you could buy it on Troll and Toad, $69.28, which is about a 53% drop. So about what you would expect. Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX, the secret rare, was pre-ordered for $200 also. This has only dropped down to $149.99, which is only a 25% drop. It is quite a bit more expensive than it is on TCG Player, but still only about a 32% drop on TCG Player, where it went from $150 as a pre-order down to $101.78. When you have that secret rare Snorlax, which is a card that a lot of people really love, it's a super cool looking card. It was selling for pre-order prices for about $180. It has only dipped 27.78% since that time, which is down to $130. Same thing on TCG Player, where it was actually a little bit more expensive for pre-order. It was at $214.99, and it's a little bit lower now, closer to that $100 mark. So it's more of a typical dip when it comes to the Snorlax secret rare. It's about 53.85%. $99.21 is what you can grab it for on TCG Player right now. When you look at the alternate art of Galarian Moltres, $175 is what it was pre-ordering for. That card has had really, really strong legs. I couldn't find the pre-order pricing for TCG Player, but right now it's only selling for it's selling for $150, which is only a 14.3% decrease. Very, very close. A month after the set has been released for a card that's not a staple index. To really, I mean, that kind of just shows the market that we're in right now. It's really a collector-heavy market with a card like Galarian Moltres, which a lot of people love the artwork behind. A lot of people have the desire to purchase that card. So $175 down to $149.97, only a 14% decrease, which is really, really strong. The Blaziken VMAX is the only card that we have seen across the board kind of go up in price from pre-ordering, which is really strange. But it started out as a pre-order at about $160, and then now it's about $170. So it went up 6% from where it was a month ago when people were pre-ordering the set. On TCG Player, it was pre-ordering for only $120, and then it now you can buy it for $131.05 as far as the market price goes on TCG Player, which is about a 9% increase, a little over 9% increase in the span of a month, which doesn't usually happen. Once a set starts getting opened up in the masses, you start seeing those single prices really come down. It's very weird for a card, unless it's a very, very strong staple, a card that's used in a lot of decks, a card that's really, really heavy in the competitive scene, to go up in price a month after the set comes out. So very interesting information there to look at. Galarian Articuno, the alternate art, went from $150 down to $65. So this is more of a typical decrease that we would see, about 57%. Much, much cheaper when it comes to pre-ordering on TCG Player. Went from $90 down to about $47.78 now, which is a 47% decrease. When it comes to the Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX, the secret rare, or the alternate art, whatever you want to call it, $150 is what it was pre-ordering for. There was a lot of really expensive pre-order cards. $65 is where it is now, which is the exact same decrease as what we saw with the Galarian Articuno, so down 57%. The pre-order pricing on TCG Player had it a little bit cheaper, also $140, and now it's down to $54.01, so we saw a 61.42% drop. That is very, very typical for a new set once a month has passed that it's been released. The Zeraora V alternate art, this is a huge, huge difference in pre-order pricing. Troll and Toad had it for $125. TCG Player, you had to pay $196 to get it as a pre-order. $70 is what it's selling for now on Troll and Toad. That's about a 44% decrease. Like I said, anywhere between 40 to 60% is pretty typical. $195.98 down to $57.78, which is a 70.52% decrease for Zeraora V. The Galarian Slowking V, I don't know why Troll Toad had it very, very high for a pre-order price. It was $99.99 compared to the $33.99 that we saw on TCG Player. Even now, though, it's actually, I mean, it's not doing too bad as far as cost goes, as far as value goes. $49.99, so it's about a 50% drop. It was actually misjudged on TCG Player by at $34 for a pre-order price, because now it's selling for $40.62, which is almost 20% of an increase over the past month. So that card actually had a lot more popularity than what we originally thought right before the set came out. The Clara full arts was selling for $99.99. They had a few cards that were listed right at that $100 mark. Now it's down to $50, just like the Galarian Slowking V alternate art. TCG Player was much more expensive than the Galarian Slowking V, so it was at $87.99. Now it's down to $30.79, which is a 65% drop. So that's a little bit more than what we would typically see. I didn't have TCG Player data for Caitlyn or Melanie from a Rainbow Rare standpoint, but those were both $100 cards for pre-order, dropped down to $38 and $28 respectively, which is a 62% drop, and then a 72% drop, which is, I think, our biggest drop out of all of them so far. The Galarian Rapidash V from TCG Player, we'll see, had a little bit more of a steep drop, but this is pretty much the biggest drop that we've had on Troll Toad, it looks like. The Shadow Rider Calyrex V, the alternate art, was selling for $90 as a pre-order, $59.99 now, only a 33.34% decrease, so not too much of a drop on Troll Toad. However, the market price right now on TCG Player is saying that card is only $38.61. $80.98 is what it was pre-ordering for on TCG Player, so pretty close in value there, which is about a 52% decrease from what we saw originally when pre-order pricing came out. Tornadus V, the alternate art, was pre-ordering for $80 on Troll Toad. It's down to about $38 now. 53%, 52.5% decrease. We didn't have any data on TCG Player that we could pull for that. The Caitlyn full art was selling for about $80 on Troll Toad, and now it's $65. So 0.75% decrease, so that's a very, very strong player. It was pre-ordering for about $58 on TCG Player, and now it's down to about $42, which is still only a 27.5% drop. So actually, I mean, it's a very strong card compared to many of these other ones here, and compared to what we're typically used to seeing. The Galarian Rapidash V alternate art, this is $75 for pre-order on Troll Toad. It's down to $50, which is a 33% drop, fairly strong. It was really crazy priced high on TCG Player for pre-order pricing. You were looking at $130 for that card, down to $35.52. From what we see now, which is a 72% drop. So I think Troll Toad had it much more accurately when it came to pre-order pricing. TCG Player was significantly higher, almost double the cost, and now they're fairly close to the same, with TCG Player being somewhat cheaper, but showing a much, much more substantial dip. Again, that just kind of shows you, wherever you get your pricing from, sometimes they're just way different, way different, not overly consistent there. I did pull some additional information from TCG Player, just from some cards that probably weren't as well anticipated when the set first released. The full art Flannery was pre-ordering for about $52. Now it's down to $32.51, which is a 37.5% drop. Honey, the full art, had a huge drop, so it went down from $50 down to $16.97, which is 66%, little on the high end from what we're typically used to a month after release. Karen's Conviction was $49.92 when it originally came out as a pre-order price. It went down to $22.35, 55% drop, which is pretty normal. And then you have the Agatha full art, which went from $43 all the way down to $11. So this is our biggest drop out of all of them. This full art trainer just hasn't done it a whole lot from competitive play or collector play. It looks like 74% for the drop there. And then you've got Melanie, the full art, went from $43.93 down to $27.61, which is a 37% drop, which isn't too bad. Echoing Horn, those secret rare item cards really do not have the same value as what they once did. A lot more people have focused more on the alternate arts and the full art trainers and things like that. But the Echoing Horn secret rare went from $34.27 all the way down to $11.51, which is a 66% drop. Shadow Rider Calyrex, the VMAX card, $33.99. This is a very playable card, and because of that, it only dropped 40% down to $20.33. And then finally, the full art Doctor was $29.98, and now it has dropped down to $17.19, which is about a 43% drop. So there you go. This is the data that I was able to pull going over pre-order pricing compared to where we are now a month after release. It'll be very interesting to see. I'm going to try and save this spreadsheet and then add on to it in probably a month and a half or so. So once we had Evolving Skies come out for a couple of weeks, so maybe in the middle of September, I'll record another video kind of going over where this is now, because we should have additional data with more boxes being opened once that wave 2 of Chilling Reign comes out. So it'll be interesting to see how the boxes look as far as a price point goes. I do expect and suspect those prices will drop, much like what we saw with Battle Styles. Will they go down to $100 and $105, $110, somewhere around that area? I'm going to bet that they probably are close to $100 to see where these cards start falling, because more people are a lot more attracted to buying booster boxes once they hit that $100 mark, especially when they see they can pull a card out of it like a Snorlax Secret Rare, which is selling for roughly $130. It's more worth the chase. Whereas if you look at, let's say, a set like Team Up, for example, which is an $800 booster box, and the card that you can pull out of there is, you know, the most expensive card that you can pull out of there is the Latios and Latias alternate art, which is like a $200 card. So if you can pull cards out of a box that make the box more worth it, or that are worth more than just the box, it really starts enticing people more to start opening product, and that kind of trickles into single prices dropping. So we'll see what happens around September with some of these prices. It'll be really interesting to kind of keep track of these spreadsheets as we go and as we move forward, especially things like Hidden Fates and Shining Fates, as sets have been out for a while, to just kind of see once more and more product gets opened and more product comes out, and those products start falling, you know, less available, just to see how everything changes. So with that all being said, guys, I really appreciate you taking the time to listen, and I hope you like looking over this data like me. It's just kind of fascinating to me to look at and kind of pay attention to the market and see how things change with each set release. With that being said, I do appreciate your time. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button down below if you haven't already. Leave a comment. It goes a long way for the algorithm, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for everything. Until next time, peace.